folks, Dr. Dillon and Lord here at St Clair College R&I. Welcome to Discovery Junction, College Research Explorers. Okay, so let's continue with that. So I'm Sumit Patel. So tell me a little bit about your origins and share a little bit about with what your name means. That sounds pretty cool as to start this podcast.
Yep, sure. So I'm Sumit Patel. Migrated from South Africa to Canada for my studies. My family roots are Indian. My family moved to South Africa in 2004. And I came in thereafter in 2011, grade 6, I think. And I was like a student. I was studying in the native language. In India, I was studying in Gujarati.
Okay.
So I didn't know a single word of English. And I started learning everything from grade 6. And apparently, like, the principal kind of knew my dad. So my dad went to the principal and said, put him in a class with these, like, Indians, so then he can communicate better, right? So then what happened was the principal was he was like, you know what, I'm going to put him in a class where there's no Indians, since he's going to learn more when there's no one to communicate. Right. And I think that's one thing that kind of pushed me to learn more about any other thing in the world, you know, kind of like just one example that pushes me to learn a lot. Because if I could do that, I can do anything, because like if you don't understand the language, for me to go to the bathroom, I think grade 6, someone would write me a note and that says, can I go to the bathroom? And I'll show it to the teacher. And then that's how I would go. And so from coming from there to like passing my matric, like that's grade 12, to university back home and to St. Clair College. It's been a journey.
And it's great to have you here. So what course are you doing here and what are you planning to do in the future?
I'm in my last semester of computer technician networking. I'm going to be done in I think I'm already done. It was my last day today. And
congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know where life's going to take me, but I hope I get a field job. So something related to networking or something related to IT, which is what I did back home. And I have few experiences. I used to work for the South African government in the education department. I had an intern at Microsoft. I left all that back home for a Canadian dream, to be honest. But yeah, it's been a wild year and a half, I think, in Canada. It's wild. I think you need to like portray a lot to show people what you're capable of, right? Because no one knows you. Like back home, probably people would know me as my dad's name, or like my dad's would be like my dad's name and son. Here, I just have to like kind of portray my own kind of image to the world, so then my future kids can probably take my name to get down.
And do you think that's an opportunity for you to kind of become your own, or is that challenging? Is there a change in identity, or?
It's kind of challenging. To be honest, it's kind of challenging because the world kind of is running at a phase where people judge each other, which is not the right thing. You never judge a book by its cover. Mm-hmm. Of course, you have to read it to see what it has, right? So you get judged by, of course, it's everything: race, identity, how you look, what skin color, whatever. But I think it's the skills that you have that puts you out. It's soft skills, communication skills, all those type of things. But yeah, it's a tough journey moving to another country because you're starting from scratch, and it's actually a zero, and you just have to build up. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a tough ride, but all I hope and pray is that I hold on, and we'll see where it takes me.
And there seems to be this constant theme of resilience, right? Mm-hmm. Learning language, changing identities, or the identities adapting and things like that. So it kind of leads me on to my first question, which is, how can we make sure research is useful?
When I was backstory, I came to Canada last year, May, applied for a research position at campus. I got selected for it. I gave first interview. And I got through the first interview. It was for C++ programming research. My second interview, sadly, I couldn't go through. But it's something that I have looked up to. Like research is something that I look up to, saying that how research is going to change or perspectives of people is you have to gather data to kind of prove something right now. People want to look at stats when it comes to sports, when it comes to life, when it comes to problems in a company or an institution. And those are the stats that we take that's from research to implement new ideas in the future. So I think research is kind of quite important in that sense to like portray your ideas to a better product.
Yeah, so a kind of a value added element to the numbers and the meaning behind numbers. But then also, as you continue to share your biography, it's the value in the word as well, right?
Exactly.
It's quantifying that word.
Yep.
So, what does progress in research mean and how can it help us?
Progress in research. It's a tough question, but I feel like research shouldn't be something that ends, because we're living in a world where everything changes, like technology. Like if I study IT 2 years back, and if I study IT right now, there might be updates of programs. So I'm in the field where I have to change, keep on changing myself, and I see research as something that's never gonna stop at a point where it says we are done with it or this is our output. Research has to be, from gathering small details of ideas to trying to put out a product, trying to see how you can fix that product. So research has to be like a step by step version when it doesn't have an end. So you have to keep on trying to research more about something. Let's say the healthcare industry. People are still researching about cancer. People are still researching about COVID. So that's something that's never going to end. Even TB, I think it was a deadly disease back then. By research and by more biological medications, came to the humanity thingy that you can actually cure it, and it's research that brought to that end point. So I feel like research should just keep kept on going. It shouldn't be a thing where you stop research
Yeah, and
at a certain point.
yeah, and that's a great point, and it often leads us to this. So we're known as research and innovation,
Yep.
and I think it's the innovation part
Exactly. So
that's
you innovate something. You have a product. You have to innovate it so that the users can like kind of gain something out of it. If you look at apps, different apps like Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram, they kind of do research on how the user uses it, and then they try to implement changes to it so then it fits the future kind of users. Stories were not there on Instagram, I believe, came from Snapchat. So they had to implement new ideas and innovation to keep the thing running. That's already like we have a product, but to keep that running, we have to like iPhone 14, 15, 16, you have to keep on doing stuff.
Yeah, so as a college,
Yep.
we're really proud to be representing the college here. We're based here at South Campus, but we work across all the different campuses. Where would you rate research and innovation as being important on a college campus? If 1 was low and 10 was high, where would you put it in that ranking when you think about your own experiences through academic curriculums and working working through many different facets of the college and some of the experiences you have in the college? Why is research innovation scale of 1 to 10 important, but 2, how can it support students on their journey while they're here?
I would say 10,
Okay.
probably more than 10, because institutions like college or university or St. Clair College, for example, are the ones that are meant to do research on different types of studies, not just including my field, any other field out there, because a lot of the world looks at institution to produce research as statistics. I don't know if you're a news person or not, but if you watch a lot of news, you'll always hear stats referring to or kind of referencing Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, referring to all these big institutions that are kind of trusted because of the research they do. So I feel like St. Clair College Research and Innovation is something that I would rate. You do need that in an institution, as it proves kind of, or it gives you the ability to prove something or innovate something. It gives you the ideas. It gives people, of course, people have to work together to do something, and it gives you resources. So it's kind of needed in a community. Research and innovation is needed for new products to come up and new things to be implemented.
Yeah, and just to expand on that, in
Yep.
terms of community, when we think about a lot of the work we do in the community for the community, where do you see some of those trends as a student, as a person who lives in this community?
What do you mean by trends, though?
So, in terms of how do you okay, let's break
Yeah.
trends down then. So, how about how do you think we can best serve our community, the community that we live in,
Okay.
outside the boundaries of the college?
Okay. I feel like being moved from a different continent, South Africa, or the place I was in, I feel like this community is more like based on farming. I think a lot of people farm. A lot of people have government jobs that come from outside Windsor to kind of look for opportunities in Windsor. Surrounding this area, it's only farms. There are a lot of people that farm, they earn a living. I feel like research and innovation in this community is needed in a sense that how people can better themselves. Because I think when I saw farms, people are very, how do I say this? They are very um, based out, like they spaced out, so they don't have communications. Like when I was traveling, I saw a farm house. I don't know if they live there or it's just a summer house, but people live like kilometers away from each other. I mean, they have cellular connection or Wi-Fi, whatever, to communicate. But I think education, research, and innovation is something that's gonna pull them up from the. I'm not gonna say a mindset, but I'm just gonna say something that's the world looking at right now, like the future. I think when you have a farmhouse, you have a farm, you're just gonna be like, I'm gonna farm. To be honest, my granddad was a farmer back then. My dad probably moved out of that phase, saying that I'm no more gonna be a farmer, move out to another country, explore the world. He's a businessman now. And I moved out of South Africa. I didn't want to be that businessman's child. Explore the world better. I think it's research and innovation that brought me here, kind of like people that introduced me to St. Clair College and what it was. That's research and innovation, something that you go look out there.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a different way
It
of
brings like communities, it kind of brings communities together, but it gives opportunities to move outside. Not, I'm not saying like out of Windsor, but something like Montreal or Quebec, or learn something different out of just the community.
Yeah, it's that idea of thriving, right? This
Yeah,
idea of, well, what am I contributing to the world? It
yeah.
kind of leads me to my final question, which is, how does research help us understand the world better?
That's a tough question. Looking at examples from the world, I think research kind of helps us look at, when I was explaining stats. There are stats, and there's research done behind those stats to be popped up. And you see a graph, you just don't see a graph. You see the research behind it. If it says 90% hunger, you see people, like your mind sees people that are hungry, right? So there's research behind that number that kind of portrays that that number is really honest. So, my bad. Coming back to the question. What was the question again?
So the question is how does research help us
Help
understand the
understand the
world
world.
better?
Yep. So understanding the world, what we look at right now is numbers. People look at money as numbers. Money is not. It's not a physical product. It's just numbers. I mean, you have a bank account. I have a bank account. Whatever numbers I have is what I have, right? So research and innovation in the world, kind of way the world looks at it, is something how we can change a complex problem into a simpler solution. Back to my field, technology. People look out for Apple Pay. It's a technology or a research and development that Apple used or companies use to pay for payments. It's making it safer. You don't have to carry cash. No one's going to steal you. Back home where I come from, people kind of steal you. They kill you for money. So right now, people are not even using cash. People are all doing internet banking, whatever. And that's what the world looks up to, like innovation that comes up and says, what is the thing that we're going to change that's already sitting there? Yeah.
No, that's really interesting, and it goes back to the earlier story that
Yeah.
you shared about Elon Musk. So
Yeah.
as we close out, maybe you want to share that
Sure.
story. We were talking about it off
Yep.
off the
So,
microphones.
100%. So, moving from South Africa, even though I'm Indian, I think a lot of people would call me saying that, okay, yeah, you kind of betray your own country, right? Like I was born in India, I moved to South Africa. All I say is when I moved from grade six, as a human being, I think at the age of 10 or 11 is when your maturity hits a little, your puberty starts coming out. And that's what you see or understand the world. Now, I believe that when I came to South Africa, it's the world I saw. When I was a kid, it was just, yeah, here and there. Moved to South Africa, of course, a country that fed me for 12, 13 years and took care of me. My parents are still back home. We are citizens. I feel proud of that. So I tell them a lot of stories about what I was back home. And I tell them stories about businessmen or female singer. I don't know if you know Tyla. She's a famous singer, sang Water. She's
Yeah.
from South Africa. She's half Indian too. So I kind of feel proud of those moments where I was telling before that I studied in the same school. It's called Pretoria Boys High, where Elon Musk kind of studied. And he went to University of Pretoria, which was very close to me. And I think so. Elon Musk moved at the age of 18 or 19 to the US for business opportunities. Quick fact: even I don't know, a lot of people drink Monster Energy, invented by two South Africans.
Okay.
Those were South Africans too. Famous men like Nelson Mandela, South African. I don't know if you watch Comedy Central with his Trevor Noah.
Yes.
Trevor Noah is South African. And what I was saying about Tyler. So there are people that are out there kind of portraying South Africa, you know. And I just want to be that person saying that, yeah, I came to Canada, came to St. Clair. I want to portray my people, even though I don't look like them. I want to portray my people saying that, yes, there's a lot of poverty back home. But all I'm saying that there's hope, there's change, even innovation, research. There's space for everything in this world to happen. And that's why I'm proud to say I'm South African Indian. And yeah, that's my story.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. I
Sure.
don't know if you've had any other closing thoughts before we close out.
All I want to say is whatever you guys do, research and innovation. When you texted me saying, or when you posted a reel saying that anyone want to come out for podcast, it's a good thing. There are a lot of people that have a lot of stories, good stories. I mean, like when I say stories, I mean real life stories that they came from, which they are right now. And I feel like a lot of people want to share those stories, but they don't have the platform to say those words out. And I feel like I had an opportunity, hence I texted back saying that I want to be in a podcast. I want to tell the world where I come from. I want to tell the world what I'm doing. I want to tell the world how important research and innovation is. And yeah, I just want to appreciate you guys and what you do. Yeah, I was kind of selected for the position, but all I'm saying is yeah, sure. But yeah, that's my closing thoughts.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Join us again next time